Hey, who would have ever thought, right? The gambler in Havasu. What brought us here is my fiance skied here all her life. Skied.
Inside my son, so you can give me some prom.
Open your eyes.
My eyes are open,
Open your eyes.
And if you don't like it, yeah, really? Ready?
Picture this. You're sitting on your couch, completely hooked on Storage Wars, watching Dave Hester yell YUUP as he bids on what looks like a treasure-filled storage unit. Your heart races as the auctioneer counts down, and you genuinely believe you're watching real people risk their own money for a chance at striking it rich. But what if I told you that almost everything you just watched was as fake as a $3 bill? Today, we're diving deep into one of reality TV's biggest scandals. We're talking about how Storage Wars, a show that fooled millions of viewers, including myself, was caught red-handed staging scenes, planting valuable items, and turning what should have been real auctions into scripted drama. By the time we're done here, you'll never look at reality TV the same way again. I remember when Storage Wars first hit the airwaves back in 2010. It seemed like such a simple concept. Real people would bid on abandoned storage units, hoping to find valuable items that the previous owners left behind. The show made it look so easy, so authentic. Regular folks like Daryl Sheets, Jared Schultz, and Brandy Parsanti would roll up to these auctions, peek inside the units for just a few seconds, and then make split-second decisions that could either make them rich or leave them with a unit full of junk. The format was brilliant in its simplicity. Storage facilities across California would auction off units when people stopped paying their rent. The contents were supposed to be completely unknown to the bidders. They could only look inside for a few minutes before the bidding started, and they couldn't touch anything or dig around. It was like gambling, but with the added excitement of treasure hunting. And boy, did people find treasure. Week after week, we watched as cast members discovered antique furniture with thousands, rare collectibles, vintage motorcycles, and sometimes even real historical artifacts. Daryl Sheets, nicknamed the Gambler, seemed to have an incredible knack for finding units packed with valuable items. Barry Weiss, the eccentric collector, would stumble upon weird and wonderful objects that perfectly matched his quirky personality. It all seemed too good to be true. Well, as it turns out, it was too good to be true. The first real crack in Storage War facade came from an unlikely source, one of their own cast members. Dave Hester, famous for his loud YUUP catchphrase and aggressive bidding style, was actually the one who blew the whistle on the show's fake practices. Now, you might think this is ironic since Dave was often portrayed as a villain of the show, the guy everyone loved to hate. But sometimes it takes someone on the inside to expose the truth. In December 2012, Dave Hester filed a lawsuit against A&E Network and the production company behind Storage Wars. But this wasn't just any ordinary workplace dispute. Hester's lawsuit contained explosive allegations that would shake the reality TV world to its core. He claimed that the show was rigging auctions, planting valuable items in storage units, and manipulating the entire process to create more dramatic television. According to Hester's lawsuit, the producers would secretly place valuable items in storage units before filming began. They would coordinate with storage facility owners to make sure certain cast members would win specific units that had been loaded with treasures. The whole thing was orchestrated like a movie production, not a real auction. But Dave Hester's claims went even deeper than just planted items. He alleged that the show's producers would actually bring in their own storage units that had never belonged to real people who couldn't pay their rent. These fake units would be stuffed with valuable items specifically chosen to create exciting television moments. Imagine that, entire storage units that were nothing more than props in an elaborate TV show. The lawsuit also revealed that cast members were given detailed scripts about how to react to certain discoveries, those moments of genuine surprise and excitement that we all believed in. Many of them were carefully rehearsed performances. The cast members knew exactly what they were going to find in certain units before the cameras even started rolling. One of the most shocking revelations was about the show's appraisal process. You know those moments when cast members would take their finds to experts who would tell them exactly how much their discoveries were worth? Well, according to Hester, many of those appraisals were inflated or completely made up. The experts would give ridiculously high estimates for items that were actually worth much less, all to make the show more exciting for viewers. Dave Hester also claimed that he was fired from the show not because of any contract disputes, but because he refused to go along with the staged elements. He said he had been pushing back against the fake practices for months before his dismissal. The producers, according to his lawsuit, wanted cast members who would play along with the scripted drama without causing trouble. Now, A&E Network and the show's producers didn't just sit quietly while these accusations flew around. They fought back hard against Hester's claims, denying that the show was rigged or that items were planted. They argued that Storage Wars was genuine reality television and that Hester was just a disgruntled former employee trying to cause trouble. They even countersued Hester, claiming he was trying to damage the show's reputation. But the damage was already done. Once Hester's allegations became public, other people started coming forward with their own stories about the show's fake practices. Former production assistants, storage facility employees, and even other cast members began to speak out about what really went on behind the scenes. One particularly damning piece of evidence came from a former production assistant who worked on the show. This person, who spoke anonymously to protect their career, described how trucks would arrive at storage facilities in the middle of the night, hours before filming was supposed to begin. These trucks would be loaded with valuable items that production assistants would then carefully place inside specific storage units. The former assistant described a meticulous process where producers would map out exactly which units would contain which items, and they would even coordinate with cast members about which units to bid on. It wasn't random chance that led Daryl Sheets to so many valuable discoveries. It was careful planning and staging by the show's production team. Another revelation came from storage facility owners themselves. Several facility managers came forward to admit that they had been approached by Storage Wars producers with offers to feature their facilities on the show. But there was a catch. They had to allow the production team to control which units would be auctioned and what would be inside them. Some facility owners described feeling pressure to go along with the show's request because appearing on Storage Wars would bring them valuable publicity and potentially more customers. They were essentially trading their integrity for marketing exposure. The most heartbreaking part of this whole scandal was realizing how many regular people had been inspired by Storage Wars to try storage unit auctions themselves. Thousands of viewers had started attending real storage auctions, hoping to strike it rich like their TV heroes. But real storage auctions are nothing like what was shown on television. In reality, most storage units contain exactly what you'd expect from someone who couldn't afford to pay their rent: old furniture, clothes, personal belongings, and a lot of junk. The chances of finding valuable antiques or collectibles are extremely slim. Most professional storage auction buyers will tell you that it's a tough business where you're more likely to lose money than make it. But Storage Wars made it look so easy and profitable that it created what industry experts called a Storage Wars bubble. Auction attendance skyrocketed, driving up prices and making it even harder for serious buyers to make a profit. Regular people were bidding hundreds or thousands of dollars on units, expecting to find treasure, only to discover that reality was much less glamorous than television. The show's impact went beyond just individual disappointment. It actually changed the entire storage auction industry. Facility owners started raising their expectations about what their abandoned units might be worth. Some even began charging higher fees for auction participation, riding the wave of popularity that Storage Wars had created. As more details about the show's fake practices emerged, it became clear that Storage Wars wasn't just bending the truth a little bit for entertainment purposes. It was engaging in systematic deception on a massive scale. The show was essentially a scripted drama disguised as reality television, and millions of viewers had been completely fooled. One of the most telling pieces of evidence came from analyzing the show's success rate. If you actually tracked the cast members' wins and losses over multiple seasons, their success rate was impossibly high compared to real storage auction buyers. Real buyers might find something valuable in maybe 1 out of every 10 or 20 units they purchase. But on Storage Wars, cast members seemed to strike gold constantly. The mathematical impossibility of the show's success rate should have been a red flag for viewers and critics alike. But the entertainment value was so high that most people were willing to suspend their disbelief. We wanted to believe that ordinary people could get rich by buying abandoned storage units, even when the evidence suggested otherwise. The legal battle between Dave Hester and A&E dragged on for years, with both sides filing motions and countermotions. Eventually, the case was settled out of court, with the terms kept confidential. Neither side admitted wrongdoing, but the settlement itself seemed to suggest that there was at least some truth to Hester's allegations. Meanwhile, Storage Wars continued to air new episodes, but the show's reputation had been permanently damaged. Viewership began to decline as more people became aware of the staging allegations. The magic was gone once viewers realized they weren't watching real people take real risks with real money. The scandal also had broader implications for the reality TV industry as a whole. Storage Wars wasn't the first reality show to be accused of staging scenes, and it certainly wasn't the last. But the specific nature of the allegations, involving financial fraud and deception about valuable items, made this scandal particularly serious. Other reality shows began facing more scrutiny from both viewers and regulators. People started asking harder questions about what was real and what was staged in their favorite programs. The Storage Wars scandal contributed to a growing skepticism about reality television that continues to this day. Looking back now, there were signs that something wasn't quite right with Storage Wars, even from the early seasons. The cast members seemed to have an uncanny ability to spot valuable items in units where regular people would see only junk. Their bidding strategies often didn't make financial sense if they were really risking their own money, and the dramatic timing of major discoveries seemed almost too perfect for television. But perhaps the biggest sign should have been the show's own success. Storage Wars became one of A&E's most popular programs, spawning multiple spin-offs and turning cast members into celebrities. Shows that are truly about ordinary people doing ordinary things rarely become that successful. The entertainment value was clearly being enhanced somehow, and now we know how. The Storage Wars scandal teaches us an important lesson about reality television and media literacy in general. Just because something appears on TV doesn't mean it's real, even when it's labeled as reality programming. Producers have powerful incentives to create entertaining content, and sometimes that entertainment value comes at the expense of truth and authenticity. This doesn't mean that all reality TV is completely fake, but it does mean that viewers should approach these shows with a healthy dose of skepticism. When something seems too good to be true, whether it's people getting rich from storage auctions or contestants finding true love on dating shows, it probably is too good to be true. The impact of the Storage Wars deception extended far beyond just disappointed viewers. Real people spent real money attending storage auctions based on false expectations created by the show. Some people even quit their jobs or invested their life savings in storage auction businesses, believing they could replicate the success they saw on television. The storage auction industry itself was disrupted by the artificial demand created by the show's popularity. Prices were inflated, competition increased, and the entire market was distorted by unrealistic expectations. When the truth about the show's staging finally came out, many people felt not just disappointed but genuinely betrayed. Today, Storage Wars still has occasionally, though it never regained the massive popularity it once enjoyed. The show continues to feature storage auctions, but viewers now watch with the knowledge that what they are seeing may not be entirely genuine. The magic of believing in the possibility of striking it rich from abandoned storage units has been permanently lost. The legacy of the Storage Wars scandal serves as a reminder about the importance of critical thinking and media literacy. In an age where we're constantly bombarded with content designed to entertain and engage us, it's crucial to maintain a healthy skepticism about what we're being shown. Reality television, social media, and even news programs all have various degrees of staging, editing, and manipulation that can distort our perception of truth. The cast members of Storage Wars, for their part, have had mixed reactions to the staging allegations. Some have denied knowledge of any fake practices, while others have remained suspiciously quiet about the whole controversy. Dave Hester, the whistleblower, has continued to work in the storage auction business, though his relationship with reality television has obviously been complicated by his legal battle with A&E. The Storage Wars scandal also highlights the ethical responsibilities of television networks and production companies. When you create content that influences people's real-world decisions and behaviors, there's a moral obligation to be honest about what you're presenting. The line between entertainment and deception becomes particularly important when the content involves financial matters or business opportunities. As we've learned more about how reality television actually works, it's become clear that Storage Wars was part of a much larger pattern in the industry. Many reality shows use various forms of manipulation, staging, and editing to create more dramatic and entertaining content. The difference with Storage Wars was that the deception was particularly systematic and involved real financial elements that could directly impact viewers' lives. So what can we learn from the Storage Wars scandal? First, that critical thinking is essential when consuming any form of media, especially content that seems to offer easy paths to wealth or success. Second, that the entertainment industry has powerful incentives to create compelling content, and those incentives don't always align with honesty and authenticity. And finally, that when something seems too good to be true, it usually is. The story of Storage Wars serves as a cautionary tale about the power of television to shape our perceptions and influence our decisions. Millions of people believed in the show's version of reality, and many acted on that belief in ways that cost them time, money, and disappointment. The scandal reminds us that even in an age of information abundance, we must remain vigilant about distinguishing between what's real and what's merely entertaining. If you found this deep dive into the Storage Wars scandal as shocking as I did when I first learned about it, make sure to hit that like button to help more people discover the truth behind this reality TV deception. Share this video with friends and family who might still believe that Storage Wars was completely real, and subscribe to our channel for more investigations into the hidden truths behind your favorite TV shows. Remember, the more we understand about how media manipulation works, the better equipped we are to think critically about everything we watch and read. Until next time, keep questioning what you see on screen, and never stop seeking the truth behind the entertainment.